Works gospel heretics use Matthew 7:21-23 to lead lost people to the lake of fire. I will show you how those heretics do that, and of course I will also show you the truth about Matthew 7:21-23. I'm going to read all three verses, and I'm going to make some comments after each verse. Matthew 7:21, Jesus speaking. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. My comments. To enter heaven, you must do the will of the Father that he requires for you to have everlasting life to get to heaven. The will of the Father to enter heaven is not specified in these three verses. That's very important. It's in another part of the Bible, which I will cover later. Matthew 7:22. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? My comments. Obviously, these people knew who Jesus was, and they were working hard for him. They were doing things for him. Matthew 7:23. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. My comments. When Jesus says, I never knew you, he was telling us they are lost. The word know indicates that you have eternal life. If Jesus knows you, you have eternal life. Look at John 17:3. But Jesus never knew them. Then he says, depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Iniquity is sins. Look at Hebrews 10:17. These people were full of sins. They were lost people. They didn't get any sins forgiven. Look at John 8:24. They will die in their sins. Now we're going to look specifically at why they were all lost. The key is Matthew 7:21, which says, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. You will go to heaven if you do the will of the Father that he requires for you to have everlasting life in heaven. The will of the Father is revealed at John 6:40. Jesus speaking, and this is the will of him that sent me, that everyone which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life. So the will of the Father to have everlasting life in heaven is to believe on Jesus, him alone, and nothing else. Please see video 152 pinned at the top of my page for more details on that subject. The people of Matthew 7:21-23 refused to believe in Jesus, him alone, and nothing else, and they decided to work their way to heaven. Now, that is why the people of Matthew 7:21-23 were lost. Here is what the works gospel teachers teach as to why they were lost and didn't get to heaven. The key is back at Matthew 7:23. I'm going to read Matthew 7:23 in 4 different translations, the last part of it. First one is the King James Bible. It says, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Now I'm going to go to 3 modern translations. Listen to the word law. First is the NLT. I never knew you. Get away from me, you who break God's law. ESV. I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. LSB. I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. Now here's what the works gospel teachers teach. They say these people went to hell because they didn't keep the law. That's a lie. We've already seen what the will of God the Father Almighty is, to have everlasting life in heaven. It's to believe on Jesus. It's not to keep the law. You don't keep the law to be saved. We are not under the law. Look at Romans 6:14. I did a video about these law heretics. It's video 348. Bottom line, the lost people of Matthew 7:21 to 23 were lost because they refused to do the will of God the Father Almighty, that He requires to have everlasting life, and that is to believe on Jesus, Him alone, and nothing else.